all heard it before. If he was black, they would have killed him. Or Dylan Roof killed a church full of black people and he was taken alive. But Eric Garner was selling CDs and he was killed for it. I'll address that second claim in a later video. But the claim that it's focusing on is that whites are more likely to be taken alive for murder than blacks are to be taken alive for shoplifting. And that claim is bullshit. And it's being pushed by morons and manipulators, and you idiots are buying into it. So let me provide you a lot of examples of black people doing the big no-no and killing or attempting to kill a police officer and being taken alive. Luther Watkins Jr. shot and killed Tuscaloosa police detective and military veteran Darnell Cossette in the head. Detective Cossette had 2 daughters and a wife. Luther was taken alive. Michael Hogan shot at San Antonio police officers and only managed to hit their computer and a window. He was taken alive. Tapero Johnson and McQuisha Tyson shot and killed Moody, Alabama Police Lieutenant Stephen Williams. Lieutenant Williams was a military veteran and had 3 children and a wife. Both of these pricks were taken alive. Antoine Pinkson shot Denton, Texas police officer Urbano Rodriguez. Officer Rodriguez was asking for his license and insurance. He smelled weed in the car and shot Officer Rodriguez in the head. Antoine was taken alive. Officer Rodriguez survived. Tavares Henderson, this ugly motherfucker, ran over and killed Nassau Bay, Texas Police Sergeant Kayla Sullivan. For some reason, he was out on bond for 4 felonies and escaped the officer, got into his car, and ran her over. She had a wife and a son. Henderson was taken alive. Doral Borden shot and nearly killed a female police officer in Cleveland who was responding to a domestic call. As soon as she and her partner entered the house, he shot her multiple times. He was arrested alive. Eric Brooks used a box cutter and slit the throat of a Shreveport police detective who was chasing him. The police officer was attempting to catch him. She caught him, pulled out a box cutter, and cut her multiple times, including in the throat. She survived, and this idiot who had many priors for robbery, resisting arrest, and whatever, was still taken alive. Lavelle Polk shot a police officer in Chicago who was responding to a domestic. The little idiot fired several rounds into the floor trying to hit the officers below, and then he ran. And he ran into a police officer and shot that police officer. Thankfully, the officer was wearing a bulletproof vest. Lavelle was taken alive. Jacqueline Blackwell shot and killed Simpson County, Mississippi Sheriff's Deputy James Blair at a mental hospital. Blackwell was a prisoner who was being taken to the nut house for a psych evaluation. Now, Blackwell was unarmed, so he must have been harmless according to Black Lives Matter, but he overpowered the deputy, took his gun, and shot him in the head before escaping. Deputy Blair had a wife and multiple grandsons. He was taking care of those grandsons because his daughter had died. The convict was arrested. Alive. Salama Pendleton shot and killed Grand Forks police officer Cody Holt, who was helping sheriff's deputy evict his ass from an apartment. Not only did Pendleton kill this officer, he also shot and injured a deputy and murdered a woman inside of his apartment. Now, even though this little piece of shit shot and killed 2 people and injured another and then kept firing an AK-47 at police, he was still arrested alive. Officer Holt was a military veteran and he had a wife, a 10-month-old son, and a twin brother. Ronnie Cato or Cato or whatever shot and killed Baton Rouge police officer Glenn Hato Jr. and critically injured another officer who was responding to a domestic. Now, Cato threatened to ambush officers, and he did. What he first did was hit his fiancée in the head with a gun, then her mother tried to stop him. At that point, he ran and got an assault rifle and shot up the house. He then barged inside of the house, killed her stepfather, and then left the scene, but police found him in another home later on. When police arrived at that home, he immediately opened fire, killing Officer Glenn and the second officer who was with him. Cato then fired several more rounds into Officer Glenn, who was already dead or who was dying. And even though he killed 2 people and injured another, he was taken alive. Elias or Eliath, whatever Dorsey, shot and killed Indianapolis Metro Police Officer Bareem Leaf. Officer Leaf was shot and killed as soon as she arrived, and another woman in the apartment was injured. Officer Leaf was a military veteran and had a 3-year-old son. Both her parents and both of her sisters worked in law enforcement. Dorsey, this worthless piece of crap, was arrested alive. Hassan Elliott shot and killed Philadelphia police officer James O'Connor IV during a SWAT operation. Now, SWAT was looking for a murder suspect, and as soon as the officers entered, he shot the officer through a closed door. But Hassan was arrested alive. James Bell shot and killed Florence Airport, South Carolina police officer Jackson Winkler during a traffic stop. Not only did he kill the officer, but he then stole the officer's gun. Bell was arrested alive. Now, here in my metro area, Vernon Green II crushed Newport News police officer Catherine Thine between a tree and his door during a traffic stop. Officer Catherine had a fiance, a 2-year-old, and 3 brothers, but Green was arrested alive. So again, this idea that whites are more likely to be taken alive for very serious crimes and blacks are more likely to be killed for minor crimes is bullshit, based off zero evidence, pushed by idiots who are trying to brainwash you idiots in Black Lives Matter into hating cops. And you idiots in Black Lives Matter are none the wiser because you're irrational, cannot think logically, and so on. It's a shame because Black Lives Matter could have a great message if they had leaders who were not stupid. And that's why I don't see you people as good for minorities or against police brutality, because you're not against police brutality, you're against the police. That's why you cannot fathom the facts that are around you. You just can't be helped. Bye.